Look, the dynamic duo.
Hey guys, welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Batcave and the temporary home of the Avengers. It is time for you to pull out your Play-Doh and fool around with it a little bit and go on a rooftop, jump off, and tell Kingpin you're on the way.
So I'm guessing we're going to talk about Clayface based on your intro and a little bit of Daredevil. Clayface, we've seen the video. We've seen the video. We've seen the trailer, Kevin. And what do you think?
I give them credit on a huge level. Although I don't like the horror aspect and the horror body morphing aspects of what they've done, but I understand it. A lot of what they have done, and I've sat down myself and I looked at the Clayface episodes from Batman the Animated Series after I watched the live action trailer. And they did and have emulated and followed a lot of what the animated series did with Clayface and within the character. My problem is, although they have done this, partner, there's a major hole in this, and I don't mean Clayface's stomach. I'm talking about the fact that there is something missing from it, and that something is a man known as Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can clearly see that the story is missing the hero aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because as you were saying that, that's exactly what my thought was. It's interesting because you're right. The trailer and the movie seems to be emulating the animated series, which to me is the gold standard for Batman. The difference, however, is that while the animated series had a classic horror back in the day feel to it, this movie seems to be emulating that. And so that's cool because it was cool in the animated series. So the question is it going to be cool in the movie? The difference, as you brilliantly pointed out, Kevin, is that the animated series had Batman and this doesn't have Batman. And I don't know that Clayface is good enough as a character. It's the mistake that Sony has made with Spider-Man, for example. They think that the Spider-Man verse is the same as the MCU Marvel verse, meaning they think they can do, just like the MCU did Thor and Captain America and Iron Man, then that built up to the Avengers. They thought they could do, Venom and Craven and Morbius. Venom, Craven, and Morbius are not Captain America and Thor and Iron Man. They're not. And so the Batman's Rogues Gallery is not in and of itself powerful enough to be a thing unto itself, except, with the exception of perhaps the Joker. It works well in coordination with the Batman. And so that's when it's maximized. The same thing with the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. Venom is not that interesting without Spider-Man. And certainly Craven and all these other Rogues Gallery are not that interesting by themselves. So the question is, will that be enough if there's no Batman, if you don't have that juxtaposition of the classic horror and the superhero? Will it be as powerful? Believe it or not, I happen to think that very much like the Joker, there's a chance, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to do a good, there's always an opportunity to do a good film. If a film is good, it's compelling, well acted, well performed, there's always a chance that audiences are going to respond to it. And the Clayface idea is interesting enough to make a good movie out of it. I said the Clayface idea, not necessarily the Clayface character. There's a different, those are two different things. So you can make a good horror movie with a guy whose face, is it Clayface? It's going to be Clayface in name only, like so many of these movies. And in name only, it could be a good, interesting horror classic, harkens back to the day. Will it? I don't know. I really don't know. And the fact that it's missing Batman takes away a little bit of my interest, to be honest with
You just to make one other point, and I don't want our audience to misunderstand me and my points of view concerning these individual villain pieces. As with all things, you can do certain stuff in the pages of a comic book or in an animated series for 20 minutes to a half an hour. Okay? And you can get away with it without having the hero in it. However, within a movie itself, you need an adversary for these villains. You need a hero or someone to give them a fight.
Yeah.
In order for the stories to work. I honestly, and people look at me weird when I say this, I did not like Joker.
Mm.
In my opinion, Joker didn't work because of the way it was structured. It was too far away, in my opinion, from what the classic Joker's origin was. I understood it. I know a lot of it comes from bits and pieces of the comic sources, but to me, overall, the movie didn't work. In the case of Clayface, I think they may be headed down that same road with one major difference. I have a suspicion that part of this storyline, even though it's from the comics, is going to feel a lot like the Phantom of the Opera. In a very weird way. And okay, it may work, but I think completely going down the horror road with no hero or adversary for him to go up against, I think is a mistake because you can already tell that the story itself is basically going to be about Matt Hagen wanting revenge against whoever did what they did to him with the formula that turns him into this monster. And it's an interesting idea, but I still think you either need Batman or the dynamic duo.
So it's interesting. You make a lot of good points. And in fact, I was going to bring up the Joker. And this is where it's a very nuanced thing because I both agree and disagree with you on this point. And it harkens back to the point that I was making originally with Clayface. So the Joker. The Joker to me, I absolutely understand and agree with your sentiment that the Joker isn't the Joker in the Joker movie isn't a good Batman Joker movie. I get that. Trust me, I've been there, done that. I understand that sentiment. If you know a character, Thor is a great example. Thor is a great example. You know the character, you know what could be done with the character, and you know how the character is, the history, the background. And then you see that movie of a Joker, I understand why you would be upset and think that it didn't do a good job. Having said that, the point that I do disagree with you, and the distinction I've always tried to make is to separate my personal desires, my liking, what I'm expecting to the work that was produced. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I thought The Joker was a brilliant movie. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliantly acted, brilliantly scripted, brilliantly directed. I thought it was a really, really, really good movie. It moved me. Kristen, my daughter, and I, we went all the way to Brooklyn, to the Bronx. We went up the stairs. We went up and down the stairs. We did. That's how much we love the movie, and that's how much I love that movie. I think I do. I really think that it's one of those rare masterpieces in American cinema. That's how big of a statement. That's how good I think the movie was. Yes, I do. Now, is it a great Joker movie? Joker, the character, Batman enemy? No, it's not. Is it a great Batman related? No. Much the same way Matt Reeves is not Batman, the Batman is not Batman. It's the same way I feel like the Joker is not Joker. But as a movie, it stands alone. And so to harken back to what I was saying, I do think that the Clayface premise is itself interesting enough. If you get a good director, if you get a good script, you can make something special out of it. You can. The premise is interesting. Will they do that? Is it likely they will do that? It's unlikely, to be honest with you. But there's a chance. There's a chance that they may make a good movie. Is it piquing my interest as a superhero fan? Here's my problem. There is a genre, and this is something that, Kevin, that's been happening. There is a genre called the superhero genre. This is my beef with Wonder Man. There's a genre called the superhero genre. Okay. And that genre is very specific. It's about superheroes. And so you want to enter into that realm and then change everything about it. If you want to make a horror movie, make a horror movie. If you want to make a classic horror movie about a guy whose face is turning muddy, whatever, make that. You can make that. If you want to make it a very interesting, very good show about a guy, Wonder Man, and he's developing, go ahead and do that. Don't enter into the realm of the superhero, because all you do is, in my opinion, disappoint that the genre, the fan, the industry, everything about it. And so in that sense, I completely understand your sentiment. I completely agree with you that if I'm going to make a Clayface movie, if I'm going to make a Clayface movie, I'm making a superhero movie. I'm making elements of action that's going to blow my mind. I would start with the horror, just like the animated series. The animated series, the gold standard. Mm-hmm. You start with the horror twist, but then you get into the superhero action. You give me some sort of superhero thing. And if you can't use Batman, which I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, but if you can't use Batman, then introduce another superhero. Maybe Robin, maybe some other superhero. But give me the superhero, and that way you can satisfy the best of all worlds. I want to go, and I want to implore our listeners, because I haven't had a chance to go to any conventions. If you do, I need a hero to step up. Because here's a question that I'm going to ask, that needs to be asked. Somebody needs to walk up to the podium and face Kevin Feige and face the directors of, all these movies, Fantastic Four, Doomsday, whatever opportunity you get, and say, why do you insist on throwing away the goodwill capital that you get with this material? Why do you insist on doing things that alienate a group of fans who are ready to hand you their money. Why do you do that? Why do you keep staying away and make alterations that distance the character and the storylines from what your fan base needs? And so that's my problem with. It's not a problem. Yeah, that's my issue with Clayface. Right now, it's just another movie to me. And I'm gonna watch the other trailers, and if it's interesting enough, I may go see it or I may not. But I promise you, if we had seen a trailer where we're seeing Clayface do Clayface things, that's what we do. We'd be there. We'd be all over it. We'd be all over it.
My other question to our audience and to you, have you been watching Daredevil Born Again?
Very, very cool. Hey guys, as we always say, there are a lot of very important things that are going on in the world, and we do this show not to ignore those things, but we do it in spite of those things. And I encourage all of you to educate yourselves. There are a lot of channels out there that give you good information about what's going on, and I recommend that you guys, there's I can't yeah, the Majority Report. Go to the Majority Report on YouTube, and you'll get some really good information, and it just starts from there. I can't think of all the names right now.